Your boring website design in Figma needs to be turned into a real working website. And you can do this with Figma without writing a single line of code. In this video, you are going to learn how to copy your website design from Figma to Framer, and then how to optimize that design for different breakpoints so it nicely adapts to different breakpoint changes. And you're gonna also learn how you can create a responsive navigation bar with a hamburger menu in the top right corner. You're gonna have a live working website by the end of this video if you follow along. And basically all you need for this is a free Framer account that you can create with the link in the description. My name is Nandi, this is Framer University, and let's get started. Okay, so as you can see, we are in Figma and we have our boring PNG website, or it's not a PNG because this is not exported as a PNG. It's actually vector based with some images, but still it's pretty boring because it's not a real website. I couldn't visit it on the real internet, on the World Wide Web. I'm gonna include the link for this Figma project in the description, and so you can take a look, but it's nothing special really. It's just a one-pager personal website with a navigation bar where you can click to navigate to certain parts of the website, and that's it. So the first thing we need to do here is we need to select the desktop breakpoint. And from here, I'm gonna go to this little icon right here, and I'm gonna search for Figma to Framer, and I'm gonna run this plugin. And as you can see, it started copying my little layers, and now it says I can go ahead and paste it into Framer. So I'm gonna do that. I'm here in Framer with a blank project. I'm just gonna hit Command and V on my keyboard, and as you can see, it started loading right here, and in just a couple of seconds, we're gonna have the whole website design right here in Framer. So we're gonna Command and X, so cut this thing from here, and we're just gonna Command and V on the main desktop breakpoint just to place it inside of our main desktop breakpoint. Now as you can see, we cannot really see the full design. It's because this desktop breakpoint has a fixed height, so we're just gonna need to set it to fit content. Now as you can see, everything is visible nicely. So if we give this website a preview right now, you're gonna see that even though it looks like a website, but it is not perfect actually, because it's not adapting to the different viewport changes. I'm gonna teach you how to make this responsive really quickly. So first of all, we're gonna go ahead and select this layers panel right here, and we're gonna open the desktop breakpoint. And as you can see, we have this desktop frame here that we copied from Figma. As you can see, it was called desktop here. So we're gonna rename this to main, because this will be the main frame on the website, and this will contain all the different sections that we have. First of all, I'm gonna set a tag of main for this main frame. And then I'm gonna make sure that it has a width set to fill. So if I resize my website, it's gonna take up the full width. If we give it a preview right now, it's not gonna work because as you can see, we have other frames inside this main frame. So even though this frame is following the viewport changes with width set to fill, the sections inside of it is still set to fixed. So we are gonna select all these sections right here, and we're just gonna set the width to fill for all of these. So now as you can see, if we take a look, now it nicely adapts as we change the width of the viewport. Another thing that you might notice is that we cannot really see the navigation bar on the top because it's on the bottom right here. So I'm just gonna move it up with the arrow keys, and now it's on the top. But as you can see, if we start scrolling, it kind of moves away. It's also good, like you can keep it this way, but I'm gonna change it to fixed position. So if we move this nav out from the main frame, we can actually change it to fixed, and we're gonna select all these pins right here and activate them and set these values to 0. Now if we take a look, you can see that it is staying on top of the viewport. However, as you can see, it doesn't have a background color, so I'm just gonna quickly give it a white background color right here. So now if we start scrolling, it nicely stays on top of everything else, and it is always on top of our viewport, which is pretty cool. Okay, so if I preview this website, I can see that this image will not be great this way. So I'm gonna select this image here, and I'm gonna make sure that this is set to absolute. And now if we select this pin right here and also on the top and on the bottom, you're gonna see that this nicely sticks to the right side of the page. This is a pretty usual layout for these full width websites, which we are building at the moment. Now let's go ahead and take a look at, for example, this button. If you check this button right here and try to click it, you can see that you can select the text here, which is not so great, and also the cursor is not changing as we hover it. So we're gonna fix that by going to the button, selecting it, hitting Option Command and K. This way we can create a component. We are gonna select the label and set a new style for it, which will be user select, and it will be set to none. And this way we will prevent it from being selected when clicking it. And then we're gonna select the primary variant of this button, and we're gonna add a style here, changing the cursor to pointer, and we're gonna also set a tag of button here. I think we're gonna also set a hover state, because why not? So let's just change the color right here to maybe 80%. And now if we give this a preview, you can see that as we hover the button, it changes the color, and also the text on the button isn't selectable, which is what we want. We can also, for example, give a link for this button, so when we click it, it takes us to a website. So we're just gonna go inside the component, give it a link, and I'm gonna create a variable here so we can actually control it from the outside. So as you can see on the right panel here, we have this link property, and I can, for example, say twitter.com/nandimuzik. Now if we take a look, it's gonna take us to that specific website. The next thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna add the appropriate tags for each of these sections. So as you can see, the first is of course the header. We're gonna add it a header tag. This is really important for SEO purposes, so make sure that you set these. I'm gonna also set the sections to section and the footer to footer. So I might add the different links to the cards too. So as you can see, we have these cards here. So I'm just gonna use the exact same tactic that we used for the button. I'm gonna select the card, hit the link here, and I'm gonna just add the appropriate link. So this will be twitter.com/learnframer. And I'm gonna do this for each of these cards. I'm gonna speed up this part of the video. Okay, so all of these links are set, and I'm gonna also add a link for this part of the text. I'm just gonna select it and again set the link here. Okay, and now if I give this a preview, you can see that, okay, we can scroll down the website, we can click all these cards, and they will take us to the appropriate website. Maybe we can add some hover states for the card too. So one way of giving elements hover state was the way that we used here with components. However, you can also do this without creating components. So if you select the card and you go to effects on the right panel and you select the hover here, you can, for example, set a scale here. So let's set 0.2 here, and also set a change in color. So let's change it to a little bit darker tone. And if we give this a preview, you can see that as we hover the card, it nicely scales up and changes the color. And we can actually select this card that has the effect, press Command and K, search for copy effects, and then just paste it in for each of these cards. So now, as you can see, each of these cards have this nice hover state. The next thing I think we should do is the navigation bar, so that as we click these menu items here, the website will scroll to that specific section. So the way we're going to achieve this is by going to the layers and giving each section the appropriate name. So this is the first section, the Framer University section, and we're just going to scroll down here to the scroll section and give this a name, for example, Framer. And I'm going to do this for each of these. So this will be Designial, and the last one will be Personal. If we go here, and select the text, we can go and give it a link, which will be homepage, because we are on the homepage right now. And we're just going to select the section. So in this case, this is Framer University, and we're going to change the scroll to smooth, so it will smoothly scroll to the section. And I'm gonna also give this a link style. It will be black on the normal state, and it will be a little bit brighter on the hover state. And we're gonna remove the current style, and we're gonna apply this for this link. And I'm gonna do this for each of the items. So now, as you can see, if we click these, they take us to that specific section of the website. At this point, we can start giving the website different breakpoints, because if we take a look, you can see that this is not really looking great. For example, if we're visiting it on a mobile phone, so we're going to optimize the website for different breakpoints, and this will be really quick, so don't worry. So we're going to press this breakpoint button here, and we're going to select the tablet first. And as you can see, the tablet breakpoint is now added to the website, and we're just gonna basically go through the design and optimize the different parts that needs some optimization. So as you can see, the first part definitely needs some optimization. Basically, the only thing I need to change is the direction of the stack here. So if I change it to vertical, it now looks great, because the text will be on the top and the photo will be on the bottom. And then we're gonna change this text to fill the whole width of the breakpoint. So we're gonna deselect this little lock here. I'm gonna activate all these pins, and I'm gonna set them to 0. And now, as you can see, it nicely takes up the whole space. This text is being cut off right here on the top. So I'm gonna set this header section to fit content, and then I'm gonna set it to align to the left, and I'm gonna make sure that we have some padding on the top, so maybe 150, and now it looks pretty cool. So this first section of the website is actually optimized. Let's see if we need any other optimizations here. I think these cards still look pretty great here, so we can add the font breakpoint. And as you can see here, the navigation bar looks really bad, so we're just gonna change the direction here to horizontal. It still looks bad, but we're gonna fix it a little bit later. I'm gonna change this to fill, so it fills up the available space, and I'm gonna do this for each of these frames inside, so they take up the available space and they are responsive. So I'm gonna then change this text size by going into it and changing it to around 36. And then I'm gonna also change the gap here to around 24. Then maybe I'm gonna change the width of this button to fill, because it might look better that way. And the text now isn't in the middle, so I'm gonna go to the component and change the alignment to the center. So now, as you can see, it's nicely aligned to the center. This image is okay, but I don't think that it needs to be this big, so let's just decrease the height. And now, as you can see, these cards are a bit too narrow, but we're gonna change them a little bit later. First of all, let's optimize these texts here. So I'm gonna change them to fill, basically the same thing that I did for the text on the header. Okay, and now we can go ahead and select the cards. We have a frame that wraps these cards, and it has a direction now set to horizontal, and that's why they are right next to each other. We can set it to vertical and they'll be below each other. But now, as you can see, this section is set to a fixed value. So because now these cards are right below each other, it takes up more space, so we need more space. And that's why I'm gonna set it to fit content, so it basically fits the size of the content inside of the frame. As you can see on the top, we need some padding, so I will add 48 on the top and on the bottom here. And I'm gonna do the same thing for this section, so changing the direction to vertical, and then this section height to fit content, and then just adding some top and bottom padding. And here I'm gonna do the same thing for the last section, changing it to vertical, and it already has some padding on the top and on the bottom. So now if we give this a preview, you can see that as we resize the website, it nicely adapts to the layout changes, and it also looks great on mobile. The last thing we need to optimize is the navigation bar. We'll do a nice hamburger menu that you can open and close. So let's just do that. We're gonna go to the desktop breakpoint, and I'm gonna select the navigation bar, press Option Command and K on my keyboard to create a component. Okay, so there will be one little change that we need to make here. As you can see, we have this logo frame right here, which includes this little logo here with the text and the square. Right here, I'm gonna add a icon. So this will be from the Phosphor icon pack. I'm just browsing the insert menu right here, and I'm searching for icon. Then I'm just gonna drag and drop this icon to this frame here. So as you can see, it's now part of this frame, but I need it to be inside of the logo, so one layer above. And then I'm gonna change the order, so it needs to be on the right, and the size will be, let's say, 26, and the icon that we will use will be the list icon. That's the hamburger menu icon. Actually, I changed the color to. Of course, we don't need this on the regular breakpoint, so we're just gonna set the visibility to no, so we hide it. And here we're gonna add another variant, and this will be called phone. Actually, let's call it phone expanded, because this will be the expanded version. The first thing I'm gonna change here is the direction of this tag. This will be set to vertical. Here I'm gonna change the distribute to start. Then I'm gonna change this gap to around 24, and the height will be fit content. Now these links here are placed right next to each other, and we need them below each other. So we're gonna just change this tag direction to vertical. Then I'm gonna select this logo frame right here, and I'm gonna make sure that it fills up the available space, and also that it has the space between set, and we're gonna show the little icon that we hidden in the primary variant, and we're gonna also make sure that this frame is 70 pixels in height. The last thing that we need to add, I think, is a little bit of a bottom padding, which can be 48. And basically that's how the phone expanded version will look like. The only thing that we will change a little bit later is the icon right here, because this will be a close icon, of course. But now, before that, I'm gonna add another variant, which will be the normal phone variant. I'm gonna hide the items here by setting the opacity to 0, and then I'm gonna make sure that this phone breakpoint is set to a fixed number, which will be 70 pixels, and I think that's all we need to do here. So now we go back to the phone expanded variant, and we're gonna change this icon to a close icon. And now we're gonna add the interactions. I'm gonna select this little hamburger menu. I'm gonna press L on my keyboard, and I'm gonna connect it to the phone expanded version. So now, as you can see, we are creating a click interaction, which means that if we will click this hamburger menu, the phone expanded variant will appear, which is exactly what we want. And then we also want to add a interaction to the close button, connect it to the phone. So again, on click, let's go to the phone breakpoint. Now we're gonna take a look at this. As you can see, the first thing that you notice that we cannot see it. That's probably because we don't have a z-index set on this component. So we're gonna add the z-index, which will be, let's say, 3. So now let's go back and see that now again we can see it. And as we go to the mobile breakpoint, nothing changes. That's because we actually have to change the nav component from variant 1 to the phone variant here. And now if we give it a preview again and change the breakpoint size, you can see that as we enter the mobile phone breakpoint, we see this variant of the component. And if we click the hamburger menu, this variant changes, but it still doesn't look as we want it to look. The navigation bar component needs to have a fit content height? It's because if it's fixed, it will always be fixed. So even if there is a variant change and that specific variant might have a bigger height, we still have fixed height set on the canvas, which overrides everything. So we need to set it to fit content. So it will always have the height that the specific variant has. So now if we inspect the phone breakpoint, as you can see, as we click the hamburger menu, now the height also changes. So as you can see, now you turned your Figma design into a real website, but to make it even more real, we're gonna publish it. So you're gonna go to the top right corner and you're gonna press publish. And here you're gonna get this little link here. This is a really ugly link, so I'm gonna help you create one that looks better for yourself. So here, if you click add custom domain, you will be taken to this page, and here you can select your free Framer subdomain. You can get this for free. There will be a link in the description. You can create a Framer account and you can basically publish any amount of sites for free. So I'm gonna set, for example, nandi.framer.website, and now as you can see, we have this link active here. And if you open it, you can see that it is nicely displayed on the internet. And yeah, this is live, this is real, everything works, all the navigation here on the top works as we are clicking them. And yeah, you can share it with your friends, you can use it as a portfolio or maybe just a little link in bio website. You can basically do anything with Framer. So that's it, congrats, now you have a personal website on the internet. So that's how you can go from Figma to a real working website with Framer without writing a single line of code. Make sure to check out the description to find the link for the Figma file, and also I'm gonna give you a remix link for the Framer project so you can take a look and see how it's built. If you want to learn more about Framer, I'm gonna also have another link in the description for Framer University, which gonna help you learn everything about Framer. So that's it for today's tutorial. Make sure to like it and subscribe for more, and I'm gonna see you in the next one.